We are back, and Jackie is wearing a very cool shirt today.
I spiced it up a little bit with the Portland Fire Rose, and a little pin right here. Shout out to the pin.
Also,
Shout out to the fire.
Playa Society. You always wear really cool Playa Society stuff.
I love their stuff. I think they've got the coolest shit. I'm always rocking a Playa Society t-shirt or something.
So good. But we're back. It's Lauren Duletzke,
And I'm Jackie G.
and this is the Click Clack Show, where we talk about the intersection of women's lives and women's sports.
Yes, we do. Let's get into it.
And really quickly before we start, Jackie, you saying your full last name instead of Jackie G was very shocking to me.
I know. I thought I'd switch it up a little bit because, intros for me are not my favorite thing.
They're
So I
not.
was like, let me just test it out. It
And
sounded okay.
for the record, before we started recording, we were talking about how we need to figure out our intro still.
Like, we're a year into this and intros still feel weird, but I'm like, maybe like some song at some point is gonna help break up the awkwardness, but we'll get
Yeah.
there.
Let us know what songs you are feeling and like what would be a fun little jingle for our podcast. That'd
Just
be
like
fun if
a make 'em up beat, you know?
Ooh, yes, I love that. Okay, Jack. Well, we are still in the thick of Olympics. Just literally hot off the press. We're recording on a Thursday. Chloe Kim, Team USA, got second place in her snowboarding competition.
Two is not a winner and three nobody remembers. Hey, what does it take to be number one? It's okay, honey.
But it was really, she's just for me, she's been such a fan favorite. And if she had won gold, I believe the stat was she would have been the first woman in male or female snowboarding in that specific competition to win 3 consecutive gold medals.
Damn, that's
So
crazy.
she just missed it by a second, but I just love watching her board. She's so excellent. And just shout out to Chloe Kim. We are fans.
I love her entire brand as a whole. I think she's so fierce. And yeah, shout out to her. I was joking about the two is not a winner. Like, she's absolutely a winner, no doubt about it.
I feel like that's just your former athlete spirit coming out.
Yeah, that was really fucked up. I don't know. I need to like bring it back, pull it back, Jack.
No, I bet she would laugh. I bet she'd be like, "That's funny."
Maybe.
You
Hopefully.
know they talk about that stuff, like, in the Olympic Village. Like, they have to be all perfect and smiley in front of the cameras, and then they're like, "Man, god damn it,"
You know
like
what's Wait, the Olympic Village just got brought to my attention last night. I was listening into a panel and when I played in 2012 at the World University Games in Shenzhen, China, we won a gold medal. I just remember the University Village and there was a McDonald's, of course, why wouldn't there be? And that was
Of
like the
course.
American representation. And then there was like all these other cultured foods, And I just remember some of my teammates literally eating McDonald's every single day, like twice a
Oh,
day.
that
Sorry, I
sounds
just
like
had to say that.
sounds like a
University Village just screams McDonald's to me.
oh my god, core memories there.
Ugh.
That sounds like a insane stomachache to me, if I'm honest, but, you do
Back
you.
Yeah, back in, like, those days, though, like, our stomachs could handle it. Now they couldn't.
Oh, yeah, it's 'cause we're older. We're getting too old.
Ugh.
We need those Alka-Seltzers.
There's a lot we need nowadays.
Tums and Alka-Seltzers. Need them
Yeah.
in every millennial bag.
Ugh, God. Sucks
We
getting
should see if
old.
they'll sponsor our podcast. Jack, as always, we like to talk about not just what's happening, the wins and losses. Obviously, we call them out as they come, but there was a topic that got brought up on social that I think is really worth us kind of digging into. It pertains to injury, of course, but it's also a much bigger theme around women making choices about our bodies and what's best for us. So I
Mhm.
want to read this. It's from an account called Working Mom Notes. Big fans over here, also a mom. They say, Simone Biles withdraws from the Olympics for experiencing the twisties. The internet erupts with criticism of not being tough enough. This was in 2021. In 2026, Lindsey Vonn proceeds with her Olympic runs after experiencing a complete ACL rupture. The internet erupts with criticisms for not withdrawing to take care of her body. Women are damned if they do and damned if they don't. All the more reason to not give a damn about what John in Indiana thinks as he yells from his recliner and cracks open his 6th beer.
I love that they reference indie. That's hilarious.
Major shout out to Working Mom Notes, because when I saw this, it immediately started a conversation. I think this is also the power of women and women's point of view, because they bring up a really important point here that it doesn't matter what women do or what we choose, we're always going to get criticized. To be fair, I don't think it's always just women, but I definitely think women have more of a disadvantage in this area, especially when it pertains to sports and when it pertains to performance. So I was just curious. I have a take on this and I want to dig into it a little bit more, but I want to talk to you about it, Jackie, as someone who played on such a severe injury. And I'm sure you heard haters like as you went through that journey, and I was just curious to ask you about it.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a double standard, right? Like they said, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Obviously, two very different situations. Simone Biles, taking a mental break for having the twisties, like that is a real thing that really happened. I think that was such a huge moment in sports and just society in general of actually bringing so much awareness to mental health. And I think that was a huge turning point in women's sports and sports in general. She received a lot of backlash, as we all know. I think, the recent events with Lindsey Vonn, the initial reaction feels like, "Oh my gosh, she is not like, she's crazy, she's not taking care of her body, she should absolutely not be racing," right? That is just, like, the common sense, like, reaction. So, I see how people could think that, but I think a lot of people, the way that they twist it in their heads, they make it such a negative thing when what she's actually doing is being so courageous and brave to actually get out there and go back out there and still compete. Like, she is one of one. I don't know of any man that could do that. And
Right.
for for me, it was just such an act of courage, and she's gonna go down in history for one of the toughest athletes to ever compete.
I'm just going to talk about this, and it's really dark, but it's on my mind. I just watched Filthy Rich on Netflix about the Epstein files, and obviously all of us have heard about the Epstein files. Why am I even bringing this up right now? For me, there's just so much history of the world not believing women and not believing in what we say, how we feel. And it just makes me even more proud to stand up at this mic every week with you and just get into it and talk about our raw, real feelings about things. Because, we don't even overly edit our episodes. We just go at it and we provide our best, most authentic points of view. I want a world where people believe women. I want a world where people trust women's perspectives when we choose to take a break or when we choose to push harder. Trust us. Obviously, I don't want to even get into the Epstein file stuff. It's too dark.
Shout out to Abby Wambach.
So what Jackie's referring to, if you follow Abby Wambach, which you should if you don't, she recently left Wasserman Agency due to the Epstein files. It was a really big move. She was the first public sports figure to leave Wasserman, as far as I know. So really just bold move there. Bold move. I mean, Abby Wambach has always been bold. She's a goat. We love her so much. But I think we talk about this topic, and our goal, obviously, as always with our show is, yes, sports as an important area of expertise and focus because we want to shed light on more women's sports topics. But importantly, what does that mean beyond sports? How does it impact women's lives? What are things we can extrapolate and learn from? This commentary from this account on Instagram about just the, damned if you do, damned if you don't, with women's choices in sports just really got me thinking about kind of where do we sit in the world as far as people trusting our opinions at this point. And it still feels like we are so behind.
That's the thing. A lot of these comments come from, Jim from Indiana that doesn't even have a face on his profile. So, I mean, that's what we just classify as trolls. But yeah, neither here nor there. It's whack. Like, the whole situation is whack.
It is. But I will say I have loved how transparent Lindsey has been with her journey and her messages. I mean, we talked about it on our episode last week, but she just shared a picture from her hospital bed this week, just saying, I got through the first surgery. I'm good. Here's where I'm at. And just the outpouring of love on her post just gave me life, from people all over the world.
Here's what I want to say to wrap up this conversation. I think what Lindsey Vonn doesn't realize is she is going to have such an incredible impact on so many athletes, and she doesn't even know what that impact looks like. And I think 5 years from now, she's probably gonna have written a book by then. She's probably gonna be speaking on panels talking about this and what she did and her mindset, and she's going to impact so many athletes, and she's going to give them the strength and the courage to overcome their injury, and I think that is the most beautiful story of all of this. And yes, this was like her Olympic moment, and there's so much at stake, and it's unfortunate that she wasn't able to continue. Um, but the silver lining is something that she's not even aware of yet, and I'm so excited for that journey for her.
Yeah, and I think we always talk about life after sport and how these athletes' careers, I mean, athlete careers are a flash in the pan. The fact that she was still competing at 41 is incredible. I think I can't
That's
remember
already a gold medal in my opinion.
a gold medal. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think the average age of how long someone competes in a professional sport is somewhere between like 3 to 6 years. And I haven't fact checked that, but that's just what I've heard. So, I mean, you think about it, that's a tiny portion of your
Yeah,
life.
it makes sense.
So I love that you talk about what we could envision in a future for her and kind of the legacy that she's left and how we'll continue to talk about it. Because that's ultimately what makes these moments so great. It's not just the win, it's what happens from that. What kind of cultural stories come from these moments that change the way we think? And that's why the Olympics to me is it's such a special moment. Of course, we're focusing on what happens in the games, but also what happens around them, like people getting engaged. Like Breezy Johnson just got engaged. That was such a cool story. She wins a gold medal and she gets an engagement ring at the Olympics. Core
Yeah,
memories.
incredible. I mean, it's like we always say, some things are bigger than your sport.
That's right. But Jack, on a lighter note, in addition to watching the Olympics, I made the brave choice to start the new season of Love is Blind.
No, I fucking can't. At this point in time in my life, I don't have the capacity, the mental capacity to watch it. I said last season was my last season. I don't know. Yeah,
This
unless you tell
season?
me if you give me like some tea that is hella juicy, I might put myself back in that position.
Well, what I can say is there is a ton of couples that get engaged, like more couples than they've had in a while. And there's some really beautiful stories and some really crazy stories that are starting to unfold, even in the early days. There's also a couple where the man in the relationship is a professional soccer coach. And he is giving just so full of himself, it's unreal. I hate to stereotype male athletes because that's not what we do here, but he's just got this like arrogance that
Ugh,
is,
yeah.
it's wild. Another reason I wanted you to watch it is because where they do their honeymoons in Mexico is the Viceroy, which we went for your wedding. So
You're right.
I
We
felt
sure
like
did.
I felt like I was there.
That is amazing. I mean, we've walked those streets. We have done it all. We were up in there literally almost a year ago. Depending on how this unravels and what you tell me in the next few days as you continue to watch will probably be my deciding factor on if I'm going to partake or not. I just have to be in the right mind space because you remember last year I was so fucked from
Oh,
all that
I
shit.
mean, if you guys have been with us for a while, Jackie spent almost an entire episode roasting half the cast from the last episode
It
last
it
season.
was like it was my mind capacity was just full of that. Like, I can't deal with it.
It's just trash, frankly,
It's
but
such trash,
mm,
but Carla and I are well, I know we're gonna fucking get into it.
I mean, if you come into my house, my split screen is usually some sport and some like trashy,
As it
trashy
should
show.
be. Or, like, some cartoons or some shit.
Not really cartoons, because I mean, we've been really
Okay, how about
actively
not cartoons, Disney, like, some kid stuff.
some kid stuff. So when we watch sports, we really encourage our kids to watch sports. I have this core memory now where a couple days ago, I was on my Peloton. My kids were dancing when we were watching figure skating. I think it was the free skate competition. My kids were pretending they were figure skaters. I'm on my
That's cute.
Peloton. So it's just these moments of gathering around sport are really important to me, especially at this early young age where they don't really know that much about sports.
Right.
And something interesting that I thought I would bring up on the pod is I volunteered today in my daughter's elementary school. And so, which by the way, I felt like a huge dum-dum. I was like, oh my, even the lessons I had to teach, I was like, had my phone there for support. I'm like, damn, I need to go back to school. These are very basic grammatical things. Like, how do I not know this? Like, I run a business. Like, but I was like, this is
Humbled you a little bit, huh?
so humbling. But there was one there's one exercise where all the kids had to come up with a verb. So, or they had to come up with 10 verbs. And I said, what is something that you do? Because it's an action. Almost all of them said run. And I thought that was really interesting, right? Because they could have picked so many other things, but you think about little kids and like they're just so active. And that was the
Yeah.
first verb that came to their minds. And so sport is almost like instilled in this before they even really start, you know?
Yeah,
And
that's
I just thought it
interesting.
was interesting.
That's really cool. I can
Yeah, it
see
was
that
really
though.
cool. They
I'm
also
like
had hella ADD.
I'm like trying to put myself back like when I was that little. I'd probably say run too, or like play basketball. Something that involves like moving, running.
Haley's was make art, which she's such an art kid. We've had people on previous episodes, whether it was the guests themselves, Brooklyn McDougall, who's a Canadian speed skater, there was
Mhm.
a very close connection between their love of art and sport. So I just think there's something there that's going to emerge more in the future as female athletes are more empowered to show the many sides of themselves, not just what they do on in their sport. And I really think we're going to see more artists emerge.
Yeah, and I think, like, as we know, art is expressed in different ways. It could be through fashion, it could be, pen and paper. Flajay Johnson, she's a rapper. That's a form of art. There's so many cool ways to bring out your artistic abilities, and I do think we're starting to see more of that come to light with some of these athletes. I'm like super excited to tune in to like see what else is, on the horizon with these athletes.
And I would highly recommend that, if I were leading marketing in a franchise, for example, that's where I think getting to really know your players beyond what they do in their performance is just so important to untap the potential of your marketing, particularly to the new fan, because those things make us feel more connected. They're real human experiences. We all grow up taking art classes in some form.
Mhm.
And so and art is just one example here. There's a lot of other ways to connect, but I genuinely believe that's going to be the future of sports marketing is really this different identity, this different perspective of the players beyond the incredible performance that they achieve in their sports.
Totally. Yeah,
I
I
mean, just
agree.
like you, Jack, like you never even knew you had all these sides to yourself, an entrepreneurial side, a fashion side, your love of
Oh, I
beauty.
always knew I had a fashion side.
Oh yeah, that's true. I've seen some of your photos from your days abroad.
Yeah. I I've always had a fashion side, I gotta give myself that, at least since
She's
college.
she's swaggy, y'all. We all know that about
I had to
Jackie.
correct you real quick, 'cause I'm like, "Hold up,
You had to correct me on that.
that's okay though."
100%.
But you're right, everything else, you're right.
Yeah, but I don't know, I just think it's just fascinating being a mom and seeing these little minds start to mold and, just really trying to celebrate all the things that make them so special, including their ability to play sports and perform.
You mentioned playing sports, so I wanted to talk about the Unrivaled one-on-one tournament, and I wanna get your thoughts and perspective on it. I have some quick hits on it so far. We've seen the first round of the one-on-one tournament, and it has been very entertaining. Um, Maybe some like quote unquote upsets, maybe not. Like I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Sonia Citron upset Marina Mabrey." I don't know if I would consider that an upset. I think Sonia Citron is the perfect player to go really far in a one-on-one tournament. She, like I said on the last episode, she's long, she's lanky, she can shoot it, she could drive, she can defend. So players like that are going to have the advantage. I think Aaliyah Edwards is going to be another player that's going to keep continuing to move up the ladder. Um, I think who beat Courtney Williams? Somebody beat Courtney Williams. Oh, Chelsea Gray beat Courtney Williams. Um,
Chelsea
Sue,
Gray is unbelievable. Like, we
she's
put her
unbelievable.
in our potential top category for
Yeah,
competitors there, right?
she's unbelievable. Paige beat Kate Martin, which I know there was a lot of hype around that one because Kate was like going into it and knowing she was gonna lose, which I thought was really cute. Kelsey Mitchell handled herself against Rachel Banham. I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but like the second round is going to be really fun. I'm like very excited to watch the second round.
Yeah, I will be honest, I didn't watch the games live because my life has been chaos this week, but I've been watching a lot of the highlights. And it's been really fun to watch. The Paige Bueckers and Kate Martin matchup was something I was really looking forward to just because of the sort of hype around it in Kate's perspective.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see the second round as well because you just never know. We're just not as used to one-on-one basketball as a society because there really hasn't been a lot of pro leagues that do one-on-one from what I know. So it's just really fun to watch. It's super fast paced. It's intense.
Well, I think anytime you're playing for money, number one, like the stakes are higher, so they're playing for something. But one-on-one basketball is so relevant in a 5-on-5 game. There's players that play in 5-on-5 and are great one-on-one players. And there's players that play in 5-on-5 that are not good one-on-one players. But when you remove the other 8 players from the court and it's just you versus the defense, that is such a different type of one-on-one basketball than when you have 8 other players on the floor. And so it's not necessarily the best player is gonna win one-on-one. It's just the best one-on-one player is gonna win the 1v1 tournament. One other thing when we're talking about Unrivaled is we cannot not talk about Angel Reese being back on the Rose. And I know you love you some Angel Reese,
I
so
sure do.
talk to me, girl.
I am really excited. I think a lot of us were confused why she wasn't here. Like I thought, oh, maybe she's doing a movie or like
I
why?
mean, who
Because
knows?
I mean, that girl has a million jobs. She's incredible. She's all over the place. But no, I'm super excited to see her back. We haven't seen her play in a long time too. So it'll be fun to see her back and Unrivaled and kind of the dynamics. I don't know. I just feel like, especially with the tensions of what's going on with the WNBA, CBA right now, all eyes are on Unrivaled in women's basketball outside of obviously NCAA women's basketball because it's like what we're all consuming right now. And so to have her
For
pop
sure.
back in, it's a great storyline for them. She's one of the most recognizable figures in women's basketball, period. And so I think that's a big win from a storytelling perspective whenever you have those types of players in the mix. But like
I'll
I
be
will
interested to see if the TV, like, viewership goes up now that she's back in the mix. I think that's just another stat that we can look forward to seeing because I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, because Angel Reese and players like that aren't playing in Unrivaled, so viewership, dropped." So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to see. I mean, I also just get so down with Unrivaled because I love all of the just, one-off storytelling opportunities. And something that hit our feed that we can't not talk about is Natisha Heidemann was hugging the commissioner of Unrivaled. Her name is Mickey Lawler. And Natisha's just hilarious, but she was like, we love her so much. This is the commissioner we like. And everybody's like, "What?" Like
Yeah.
that it's so obvious. The players just don't GAF right now. They're like, we've had it. Like
Yeah,
this is and so just to see that shade being thrown, it's like
I know.
pretty
It's like
wild.
no, for sure. I mean, I think there's certain players in the WNBA, Natisha Heidemann, Courtney Williams, the Stud Buds, they just say whatever they wanna say. Like, a lot of players might think that, but they probably wouldn't say it. So yeah, I mean, that was hella funny.
It was funny too because a lot of times when we see comments about the commissioner, it's in a lot more of a serious tone. Whether it's Nafisa addressing it head on and kind of her perspective on Unrivaled versus the W, or Stewie. I've seen Stewie on a couple of podcasts recently talking about where they're at, which still feels a bit like a standstill,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But this was just kind of like a funny jab, which was just something I hadn't seen before. What's going to be really cool is, well, actually, something else that came up before we move off of Unrivaled, I think something else that's worth talking about is someone posted with Unrivaled growing in popularity, what if they start recruiting out of college? And it actually, just because of the salaries alone, the college players decide they're just going to play in Unrivaled and then maybe go do something else. It's just like it was just an interesting thought bubble because I'm like, how many athletes really get recruited out of college? It's probably, how many do, Jack? Like, how many college athletes come out into the WNBA draft typically?
So there's 3 rounds of WNBA draft picks, but then there's also, like, you could get picked up for training camp. So, I don't know, somewhere between 45 to 55 per year will come out and at least get a tryout.
So 500,000 student athletes, about half of those are women in the US, and then there's whatever amount of percentage of that is women's basketball, but it's still a really predominant sport, and then there's only 55 spots for the
No,
draft.
there's not 55 spots. That's just 55 people that could go into training camp. Only, I
Oh.
would say, roughly 20 of them make a roster.
Dang. So point of the matter here is that there's just not that many spots. So could Unrivaled be just another pathway to open up more access for players to go and play? I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, well, if it's not Unrivaled, it's Athletes Unlimited or something else. Unrivaled typically be is gonna set themselves at a very high standard, so only having the top players be in that league to make it the most one of the most competitive leagues, right? So once you water that down a bit with players that might not be at that level or might not make it to the WNBA or at 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like, maybe a better league for them could be somewhere else, but yes, I know what you're saying. I do think Unrivaled is gonna be, another stop for some players in certain situations for sure.
Can I challenge that just slightly
Of
though?
course.
Because I do think that some of these players have such insane hype now because of NIL and because of their brands that they build in college. And I mean, look at Paige. She's only 1 year into the W, and she is an Unrivaled. She's in all these places, right? And she's obviously a very unique example of somebody whose brand has and performance has carried really well into the W. But I think you could potentially argue that the brand of the player, obviously their performance attributes, that's a win-win. But if they have a really big brand, that also draws a big audience, you know? So it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that goes hand in hand with the WNBA too. Like, there's players that are being drafted in the first round or getting invited to the draft room because of their following and because of everything that they're bringing from, like, a social media perspective, right? That might not be the best player, but the WNBA is still strategically inviting them for viewership. So it's absolutely something to consider, and there are, of course, some athletes out there that are fortunate enough to be in the league that might not be the best player, but because they draw so much attention, like, they're gonna have a spot.
It's gonna be so interesting, fast forward 10 years from now. I mean, who knows where social media is gonna be? But I think the trend right now is these players are just getting bigger platforms. That's just happening, period. Even younger. I mean, when we go to our camps, a lot of these kids in our camps have social media platforms already,
Yeah.
which is wild. Like I remember one player, young player liked our profile and I went to her page. I'm like, she's 13. She already
Yeah.
had like 2,000 followers. I'm like, what?
Damn.
I don't even think I have 2,000 followers, and I'm 37. So, but my
She's
point
starting
is
early.
she's starting early, but, like, these kids see the value in the brand. I think the brand piece and following the trajectory of that and how that starts to play even I mean, arguably maybe even more of a role in some cases will be fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree.
I mean, there's just this whole space is just the wild, wild west right now.
It is. That women's basketball and NIL and everything else, it's fucking the wild, wild west for
But
sure.
even the NWSL with the salary cap new rules, and it feels like sports is changing so fast, we can't even keep up with the updates.
Because it's getting so much bigger and there's now so much money involved. It's real money involved now, so things are drastically shifting and it's gonna continue to shift. We just
And
gotta keep up.
we just gotta keep up. Can I give a quick shout out? Um, so I mentioned this in our last episode. I did a panel in San Francisco, and I went and I posted about it on my LinkedIn, and I got a message from Odessa Jenkins, who's the commissioner of the WNFC. She was a big personality, big profile for Adweek during the Super Bowl. And she's so inspirational to me. We had her on our podcast a year ago, and she went out of her way to drop into my DMs on LinkedIn and just congratulate me and say what a great job I did. And
That's
I,
amazing. She's
I
so cool.
she's so cool. And I just thought in a world where there's still so much gatekeeping in sports, especially women's sports, because we're all clamoring for opportunities, it just when I like to me that's true leadership when somebody goes out of their way, especially with someone who's that busy, who has that high of a profile, growing profile, to give flowers. It felt really good. And so I wanted to say thank you to Odessa Jenkins. And if you are not watching or following the WNFC, their season kicks off very soon, I believe this spring. Please follow your local teams. We have a team here in Oregon. There's teams all over the country. It is such a quickly growing sport, and it's so fun to watch women play football.
There's some good ones out there. Odessa is definitely a good one.
She's such a good one, and I genuinely believe that you are gonna see the NFL do something even bigger with that league in the future. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind. It's just that the worlds are merging and seeing women get to play football. I just saw a clip hit my feed that one of the WNFC players was actually squatting with an NFL player on her back. And all the guys were cheering her on. I was like, that is everything I've ever wanted and more.
That is so cool. I feel like I've always wanted to squat a human being. I don't know if I can, but just any human, not an NFL player. Fuck that. Like you. I
I
want to
was going to say, you could probably squat me.
I want to see if I can squat you. Let's do a video.
I think we totally should. Could you do that with your knees, though?
I think I could handle a squat, like, with you on my back. I think I could do it. Like, you just laying across my back, like, we
Or
could
what if
figure
I
it out.
tried to squat you? That would be
That'd
even
be
more
even more
insane.
fun.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. But yeah, I just felt like if you are a female leader in sports, go out of your way to tell another woman how great she's doing, because that made my entire week. It just made me feel seen, and I just really appreciated it.
Love that. That's what's up. She's the best. Speaking of amazing women, Elle, let's move in to our rapid fire questions.
These are our favorite of the week because we never prep for them and we just go totally raw. So
When do we ever prep for anything? No, I'm
we
just
don't.
kidding.
We don't. I mean,
JK.
we do sometimes. But okay, Jack, we're gonna do marry, bench, cut.
Okay,
This is the addition today. So I'm going to start with these couples. Are you ready?
let's do it.
Stewie and Marta, Sue and Megan, Paige and AZ.
I'm gonna cut Paige and AZ. I'm going to marry Megan and Sue, and I am going to bench Marta and Stewie.
I feel like you're gonna get some major hate for the posse from the posse people.
I know. I think so too. But let's just end it there. Those are my answers.
I love that for you. I love that. All right, Jack, you ready?
I'm ready. Born ready.
We love famous athlete couples. We're gonna start with women's basketball players. I'm gonna name the name of a women's basketball player, and you have to name their partner.
All right, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Natasha Cloud,
Izzy Harrison.
Asia Wilson,
Bam.
Angel Reese.
Wendell Carter.
Damn, girl, you knew all of those.
That was too easy.
It's like you work in sports.
I love
Which
that. That
couple's
was
your
fun.
favorite? Which couple's your favorite?
I really like Asia and Bam. I think they're so cute.
When the Aces won their last championship and their reunion on the court was like, couldn't even
Yeah,
handle
I
it.
just love how supportive he is of her. Like, he knows he has the greatest basketball player of all time
Queen.
on his arm, and he, like,
Queen.
he wears her shoes, like, I don't know, it's just so real and cute. I'm obsessed.
Do you think Carla would ever wear a Jackie shoe?
Yes.
I love that.
She would, I know. We always talk about, like, if we were together when I played, like, how that would be, and we, like, envision different things. She's cute, she would.
Oh my God, she would fangirl so hard over you.
Yeah,
That would
she
be
probably
so
would.
sweet.
I
It
feel
would be
like
so
I
sweet.
would love that, you know?
I know. I like for a short period of time in my life was like, what would it be like to date an athlete? This is like before Nick.
You would
So,
be such a cute wifey of an athlete, like, not gonna lie.
I'm a cute wifey of a doctor.
I mean, cuter wifey of a doctor, that's for sure. I'm just saying, I could see you pulling up on, like, your jacket with, like, his name on it and, like, 49ers player, like, you know, I could see you dazzling it out.
Less.
Yeah,
Say less.
you would be that wife.
I mean, girl, when we were walking through the 49ers house at the Battery and all the players were walking around, I was like, these guys? Like,
Yeah.
what are their lives like? What are their
Yeah.
partners like? I wanna know it all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a
Shout
whole
out to
different
Wag
world.
Talk.
Yeah. Seriously.
Because we need more of that.
Yeah.
Well, we love athlete love, so the rapid fire questions were it this week. But as we move on into kind of our last section of the pod, we really want this section to be inspirational. We want you to be able to take away some things that are on our minds, bigger themes. We call it Coach's Corner. Jackie was a coach, but it's also bigger than just coaching. It's more about inspiration and support.
Mhm.
So, Jack, I know you have a few things in your head this week that you want to share and
In my wheelhouse.
in your wheelhouse, and I'd love to kick it over to you. And then I have a couple thoughts as well.
Okay. Um, so youth sports has been really heavy on my mind. I know we talked about it a lot on our last episode. I listened to Megan and Sue's most recent podcast this morning, and they talked a lot about youth sports. So it's just been ringing in my head. And I'm really close to my niece and her family. And like I said, went out to her basketball game last weekend. So it's just like so relevant in my brain right now. But I just want to say to the people, to the parents, to the amazing parents out there is a point in these young kids' lives that is so important for them to just have fun. And I cannot wait to be a parent when I get to that point in that phase in my life because I'm going to do everything in my power to let my kids have fun and fall in love with the game before making it too serious and before taking them from practice to practice and sport to sport. I think it's just so important right now and I keep seeing so many things about it. And I just want to inspire anyone who's listening who is a parent to please just let their kids have fun so they can fall in love with the sport.
I really, really hope that as we expand our capacity and depth as a society and our understanding of the mind and the body, how they work together, and also how our kids can still live really successful lives playing sports forever, even if they don't go pro. I really hope that there's more of an emphasis on this and it isn't just, a one story here, a two story there, but I think everybody needs to be talking about this, especially our generation, millennials, that are really the bridge right now between, Gen X, and then Gen Z and, we're raising Gen Alpha. So it's just so important. And I, being in the classroom today made that even ever more present for me too. So I love that Coach's Corner because what is life without joy?
Right.
I mean,
Especially at that age. All I remember at that age was just like having fun and figuring it out, but like also challenged at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just oftentimes see parents just like making it too serious too soon, and it's just not going to work
yeah, it's not going to work.
for
And the
most
kid,
kids.
yeah, and it's like, I just remember my parents always letting me quit, like, the second I just wasn't feeling it, and I wish maybe they would have pushed me a little bit harder to stay, but I also know my parents just really wanted me to feel joy in everything I
Which
was
is so
doing.
beautiful.
It
Yeah.
it is. I was very, very supported, and I still sport is a huge part of my life. It's my business. I run. I'm very active. I live a really active lifestyle. So I think sport is just, again, it's the bridge to a healthy life, and so we need to foster and nurture that with, especially with our youth who are just already have so many odds against them with the world that we're living in right now. Um,
Ooh, say less. That was good. That was a great way to end this episode.
Thank you. I will end by just saying one thing that it's really easy for us as women to get in our heads and feel imposter syndrome. Recently, Alona Mar talked about, I don't feel imposter syndrome when asked about it. And I love that because it's the first time I truly was like, wait a minute, we shouldn't feel this. Why do we feel this? So I've been thinking a lot about that as I grow with you, Jack, in this business, and as we think about how to build our own individual profiles and how to have success, but also to like stay humble and make sure that we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but also, finding ways for doors to open. And I would encourage everybody in leadership roles to look for the next people coming up to make sure that you are opening those doors for them and making them feel like they belong because there's so much incredible talent out there, us included, that really believe, have the passion, have the drive to make shit happen. And we're going to do it. So I really want to squash my imposter syndrome. That's one of my big goals this year.
I love that. You're getting better. I'll tell you that from an outsider looking in, someone that's been next to your side. Also, I just want to say Alona Mar just liked one of our photos today on Instagram.
We can die happy women.
Yeah, and also, let me just say before we wrap this up, so many fucking cool people have been liking our shit on Instagram, thanks to Lauren. Chelsea Handler, Alona Mar, who the fuck else? Asia, I think Asia Wilson
Lindsey
has liked our
Vonn.
shit. Cam Brink likes our shit all the time. Lindsey Vonn. I mean, the list goes on. Our Instagram is fucking popping. Now, what I'll say to end this episode, do not forget to go like, comment, and subscribe on all of our channels, which include YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, which is our most poppin' platform. And our YouTube is now up to probably 23 subscribers because a couple of
Yes.
days ago it was 21. So I'm like, okay, we're inching it by inch, one by
I think
one.
I think every episode at the end of the episode, we should say where we're at on our YouTube count.
Yeah, fucking 23 people, 23 whole human beings are fucking subscribing to our shit.
We are going to get there. It is a marathon, not a sprint, but we love you all. Find joy today. Go play sports. Have some fun. Watch the Olympics, and we'll catch you next week.
And don't take shit too serious.
Don't take shit too serious.
We out.
We out.